This morning, we are looking ahead to the weekend with Up with KREM meteorologist Thomas Patrick giving us more detailed look at the weather forecast. And Thomas, I got to say, I took a peek at your 7-day, and this weekend kind of looks perfect.
I am so excited for cooler temperatures, and I hope you are too, because this August has been so far on pace for the hottest August on record. We've hit 90 degrees 17 times this year. I just want a couple days in the 70s, and I think that is what we're looking at for this upcoming weekend, but still got to get through today. It's 61 right now, have decently sunny conditions over the inland northwest, with temperatures still a little bit cool in a couple regions, a couple mid to upper 50s in North Idaho, mostly 60s across central and eastern Washington as well. This is about our low temperatures for the day. There was one little leftover shower and storm that moved over St. Mary's about 2 hours ago. That is starting to move over a lot of the backcountry mountains in North Idaho, well south of the interstate and south of Lookout Pass. So that's not going to disturb anybody, but there is still a couple lightning strikes off of this last shower cell over the inland northwest. That was part of yesterday's storm system, but we're already looking out towards our west. A big cold front is on the way, and that is what's going to give us a relief from the heat. Now, today it doesn't arrive just yet, so we're still looking at about 90 for the high temperature today. But the weekend will be cooler, but we are tracking another chance for showers and storms because of that cold front. So we'll time out when that passes by our area coming up in just a couple minutes.
Do our LGBTQ community have the same protection from you and your deputies as everyone?
Absolutely. Absolutely they do.
This morning, we hear from Kootenai County Sheriff Bob Norris. He spoke at a town hall last night. Norris touched on a variety of topics, including how his office trains to respond to active shooter situations and the national media's coverage of the Coeur d'Alene Pride event where 31 members of a hate group were arrested in the back of a U-Haul. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk stood next to the sheriff as he spoke.
Standing room only at tonight's town hall meeting with Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Norris, where he and his deputies discussed a wide range of issues they say the community wants answers to, like how law enforcement would handle an active shooter like the one in Uvalde, Texas.
I'd like to just assure you that your sheriff's office is equipped and trained and prepared if indeed that day ever comes here. We pray that it does not.
Families in Uvalde were outraged to learn that law enforcement waited more than an hour to confront the gunman. Kootenai County deputies say that wouldn't have been the case in North Idaho.
Our primary focus and job as law enforcement responding is to stop the killing before we can stop the dying. We are a direct to threat response, meaning that we will step past anybody, including our own, to get to whoever is hurting our children.
Another topic the sheriff wanted to discuss was the national media's coverage of the June 11th Pride event. Those reports mainly surrounded the arrest of 31 members of a hate group found in the back of a U-Haul. But Norris focused on an article in the Huffington Post, which covered the arrest, and a Republican event Norris attended back in April, which featured some white nationalists.
What they forgot to say at this supposed meeting of white nationalists and a far-right bike gang was that the entertainer for that night was a black rapper. I do not support the speech that was used that evening on April the 16th, but I also do not support scantily clad individuals performing in a sexually suggestive manner in front of children.
That comment outraged some LGBTQ supporters in the group who called Norris transphobic. He asked one woman to leave.
Do our LGBTQ community have the same protection from you and your deputies as everyone?
Absolutely. Absolutely they do. Yeah, absolutely they do.
Norris claims he wasn't singling out drag queens during his comments.
I would not want a prostitute to do that. I would not, a female prostitute do that. So you made the assumption that I said drag queens. I never said drag queens. I said individual, adult individual.
In Hayden, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
This morning, Idaho's new abortion law is officially in place. A federal judge ruled on Wednesday night that Idaho's law partially interferes with the Federal Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, which says medical providers that accept Medicare funding must provide care for patients in an emergency to stabilize them. This includes abortion care if a doctor believes it is needed. Idaho Republicans have spoken out against the federal court decision that says, for now, Idaho law must follow the federal provision allowing abortion care in emergency situations at a different threshold than state law.
We're disappointed. We were hoping that the judge would go another direction, but it is what it is, and we're now in the process of discussing with the attorneys what we need to do and what our options are going forward.
Idaho Democrats gathered at the Capitol in Boise to speak out against the new law. They were critical of comments made by Republicans who say they will continue to battle the federal court's decision to partially limit the abortion law.
It was stunning. When you look at how narrow that ruling was, the ruling really just says that doctors will be permitted to provide emergency abortions where it's necessary to save the woman from catastrophic health consequences. So we are only talking about situations here where a woman is facing a life-threatening infection, loss of a body organ, paralysis, serious, major health consequences.
Republicans at the State House believe the Idaho law leaves room for providers to make correct medical decisions. Let's take a look at your morning rush. More news in less time. Leading us off, 7 men are suspected of child exploitation. This was all a part of Washington State Patrol's Operation Net Nanny, which began back in 2016. WSP and Grant County deputies used the internet to identify the suspects. No actual children were ever put in harm's way. We are learning new details this morning in a shooting at a Spokane park. 3 teenagers and 1 adult were shot at Dutch Jake Park in West Central. Spokane police say when officers arrived, they found 1 person who had been shot. 3 others with gunshot wounds took themselves to a hospital. SPD says none of their injuries are life-threatening. Investigators have not made any arrests. Contact police if you have any information. Starting this week, you can see semi-trucks with the missing Fruitland boy Michael Vaughn's face traveling along the highways. These trailers will travel across the country and Canada. The hope is someone will see Michael's face on these trailers and bring him home. Michael, of course, was last seen on July 27th of 2021. Idaho Power is offering cash incentives for new energy-saving equipment and services. Homeowners can claim up to $3,000 depending on the new equipment installed in their homes, such as central air conditioners and smart thermostats. The Idaho Power website has more details on eligibility and how to cash in, and that's a look at your morning rush. New this morning, Spokane City Council is considering to suspend the annual comprehensive plan. The suspension would be in effect next year. KREM 2's Malia Kamal giving us an in-depth look at what this means for growth in the city. Good morning, Malia.
Yes, yesterday we received a press release about the proposed suspension. Now, the comprehensive plan is basically an assessment of the community's long-term range plan for growth. Now, this morning we want to break down what the suspension would do. First, this council is considering suspending the amendment cycle for the comprehensive plan next year. That means the public wouldn't be able to send in new ideas while the city works through all the current ones. However, private requests will still be accepted. City leaders say it's to allow them to focus on a range of amendments addressing the housing crisis. City leaders say that the work aligns with Mayor Nadine Woodward's focus on housing. Now, last summer she issued a housing emergency and Spokane City Council adopted the Spokane Housing Action Plan. Now, the city invites the public to weigh in on this ordinance. You can reach out to the city via email or the number on your screen. In Spokane, Malia Kamal, KREM 2 News.
A teacher strike delayed the first day of school for one Western Washington school district. This morning, the strike is entering its second day outside of the Kent School District headquarters. The teachers are asking for better working conditions and a state-funded cost of living increase, which the union says the state has the money for. Instead of welcoming students on the first day, teachers will be on the picket line after negotiations ended with no deal. While teachers say they'd rather be in the classroom, students wrote to board members about how not having the first day of school is negatively impacting them. Meanwhile, a California policy was approved this week to ban the sale of new gas-powered cars by the year 2035. Locally, Washington will also adopt those rules.
A big part of the reason why those are here is because California was a leader and said, okay, automakers, it's time to sell more and more electric cars in California, and nobody wants to miss out on the California market.
This follows a Washington state law passed back in 2019 that says the state must follow California's zero-emission vehicle rules. So now the state is working to craft those rules and make sure Washington is on track to hit them. The state recently hit a milestone with 100,000 electric vehicles on the road. Transportation makes up nearly half of Washington's greenhouse gas emissions. What's to come is an engineering challenge, building out charging stations and infrastructure. So if you want to weigh in, the state will be taking public comment on the new rule that will open on September 7th.